Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. If you're new to the group, new to the channel, you can go to painfreeyou.com to watch a video where I describe how pain happens, how it becomes chronic. I also have a self-assessment you can download there, a free one, that you can kind of go through and see whether or not what I talk about in these videos is up to you. So in this video, the topic I'd like to discuss is, let's be honest. So what do I mean by that? When you realize you have this thing Dr. Sarno termed TMS, I like to call it distraction pain or even just stress illness. When you realize that that's what's going on, you know, we all go down this path and this journey of, you know, hey, I heard about this Dr. Sarno, I read a Sarno book, I read some of the other books out there on the market, Schubner, Schechter, Dr. Sofer even, guy up in New Hampshire, doctor up there, Brady, there's Nicole Sachs, Steve Ozanich, you know, and you start learning how the body can fall prey to a distraction mechanism that's caused by these overwhelming, unacceptable, what are perceived as dangerous emotions, and just as important, emotions that don't fit in with your own self-image. And so you now learn that there are, you've been falsely diagnosed and improperly treated by the medical system, and that creates a whole bunch of other negative emotions. And so when I say let's be honest, you have the truth. You know what's going on now, right? And some people just want a quick fix. They say, is this TMS, how can I get better? And they want to get better fast without really doing any work. Some folks haven't even really spent the time reading any of the books. And nobody can do that for you. Posing a question in Facebook cannot do that work for you. You have to really spend a little bit of time in reading and understanding. Yes, listening to podcasts are great. Yes, watching videos online is great. You know, I'm trying to help with these videos, but these are not a substitute for actually spending some time and reading some of the literature out there where you can slowly absorb it, slowly digest it, and when you're done with it, go back and read it again and read it again. And, you know, Dr. Sarno's work it lays it out about as plainly and clearly as you can get. And so if you haven't read Sarno's books or you haven't read them in years, go pick them up. Go read them again. That's a little bit of the homework. So what am I talking about with this whole let's be honest? Everybody's like, okay, what's the quick way to feel my emotions so I can get rid of the pain? And in some cases, some people have faster resolution than others. And I think it depends a lot on the varying degrees of resistance to this work. So when I say let's be honest, I'm actually suggesting that as somebody in pain, you're going to want to get about as brutally honest with yourself about your emotions as possible. You see, we've been playing nice and putting on a smiling face around everybody around us and making believe everything is perfectly fine, when in fact it's very likely that many of our own basic needs are not being met. Connection, compassion, friendship, family, love. You know, what other basic needs are there? But let's be brutally honest. If you are in a situation that is enraging to you because you don't have the respect of your boss, of your coworkers, of your family even, but even worse is where you don't respect yourself. You say yes to everything. You're always putting everybody else first. And that enrages us internally. But because we're nice people, we want to be a good parent or good family member, we do things for other people. Because it's actually a very nice trait to have, to treat others well. But if you're doing it at the cost of your own well-being or your own physical health, really, you're not doing yourself any favors. So when I say let's be honest, I'm suggesting perhaps you go stand in front of the mirror and say, let's be honest. What is not working right now in my life? Doesn't mean you have to change it. Just means you have to get really honest with how that makes you feel. Right? And I'm not saying we have to step up and find our voice and voice those concerns to everybody around us. Start with feeling your emotions. That's internal. Expressing your emotions, I joke, is vomiting them on everybody around us. Now, how many here, raise your hands, swallows their emotions over and over and over and over again until it's boiling like a powder keg, and all of a sudden it explodes and you kind of express your emotions, to put it nicely, on everybody around you or the people around you. And then that causes tension and problems and fights, and then you feel guilty, which means you just bottle up the emotions even more, and it's a little vicious cycle that way. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to be brutally honest with yourself in the privacy of your head, your home, your bathroom, the car, the garage, go take a walk outside, wherever. But brutally honest with yourself. Like, what am I truthfully feeling? What's deep in my gut that's churning away here, that's causing me to want to avoid the emotions because they're pretty darn intense and they're kind of scary? But what's the brutal truth? Nicole wrote a whole book, The Meaning of Truth. Truth matters. The truth is you're not broken physically. You're also not broken emotionally or mentally, right? But the truth is, if you're starting this work and you're resisting it and you're going, oh, this is uncomfortable, I cried for a bit, and I don't know why. I don't know why I cried. Well, because there's deep sadness. Why? Because in some way, shape, or form, some of our needs are being unmet, right? So start to look at those things. Like, what do I really feel that's missing? Like, what do I need? And a real good place to start is with yourself. Like, what can you do for yourself to start meeting these needs? I've mentioned it in the past video, I don't remember which one, but self-care is really, really important. And if you have a loving family, then I would encourage you to let them know that you need some time to take care of yourself. And that doesn't mean you're going to quit on being there for other people in your family, but it just means that I need some time for myself. And if that means you go take a walk every day for an hour, whatever's at home can wait. If you need to, take an afternoon once a week and go take care of yourself and do something fun for yourself. Get your hair done, get a haircut, go take a walk, go watch a movie all by yourself. It's fun sometimes, just to literally zone out and do something for you. Turn down the volume on your stress level and your feeling of overwhelming responsibility. Go take care of yourself, because when you do, you're going to be much more able to take care of others. But really, taking care of yourself, crucial. So let's be honest. What is it that you don't want to be honest with yourself about? What is so unacceptable right now in your life that you really just are trying to avoid at all costs? So when I say let's be honest, get real. Brutal honesty. What's the guttural truth about what's going on in your life that has necessitated these symptoms? Necessitated the brain saying, that's too truthful, that's too scary, that's dangerous. If I acknowledge that, what is so brutally honest that your brain has decided it has to protect you from it? And I'm not saying there's this one little needle in a haystack, right? Like I've said before, emotions are cumulative. So if there's deep-seated anger or even rage, just at every circumstance that's kind of led you to where you are in your life right now, give yourself permission to feel it. deeply, right? It's not fun. But the alternative of running away from our emotions and having that emotional energy, that electrical charge go into our bodies instead and produce symptoms, that's no fun either. So like I said in a previous video, which type of pain are you going to choose? The pain of the brutal honesty about what emotions you're truly feeling? Or the physical pain or physical symptoms as a result? And so just really ask yourself, what's the brutal truth that I don't want to really face? You may find that there's something overwhelmingly scary, but then when you actually acknowledge it, that electrical charge from that thing we've been running away from for years or decades or most of our lives is not as bad as you thought. We're a lot more resilient than we give ourselves credit for. And I mean that physically. The body's not easily broken. That's why it heals so well. I mean, literally, if I fell out of a tree, I could go get patched up, get the bones set, and about 6 weeks later, I'd be all done, right? So if you've convinced yourself that your body is frail and broken and weak and, something as simple as a muscle imbalance is going to cause, your lifetime of pain, you're selling your body short. The body's pretty awesome. So give yourself some credit. Give your body some credit. It knows what to do. But give yourself the gift of brutal honesty with yourself when you do this feeling process. And again, journaling, maybe. There was a gentleman who pointed out that my questioning in my last video about journaling, story mode video, about journaling kind of caused him to question his journaling practice. And I quickly responded to him and I said, hey, look, there's no right or wrong way. I was talking about journaling as I experienced it. It didn't work for me, and I've seen some other people express the same concerns. Maybe it was how I was doing it, and this gentleman had a really good approach to journaling, and I'll share that here. He said at the top of the page, it says, what am I feeling today? ? Which is a written mode of kind of what I've been sharing, which is, right now, what emotion am I feeling? Okay, so he did it in writing, and instead of just sitting with the feeling and feeling it, he was doing it on paper. Just as good. There's no right or wrong way to do this stuff. You got to figure out what works for you. And so if you've convinced yourself that, wow, Dan just said he doesn't like journaling, and I've been wasting my time journaling because I haven't gotten a result, maybe that's why. And then the next thing you hear is somebody else says, well, this feeling thing didn't work for me. And now you're like, well, which process do I choose? And oh my God, I'm never going to find the right process, and because it didn't work for him or them or them. Look, trust yourself. Trust the process. When Sarno said think psychologically, my interpretation is what it means is, let's be honest. Get brutally honest with what's going on in your life. With your job, lack of a job, with your spouse, lack of a spouse, with your kids, lack of kids. Doesn't matter, whatever your scenario is. If you have feelings in those regards, be brutally honest with them, right? For me, it took me a while to figure out, but I definitely hit a wall at 31, 32 years old when my pain started. That literally was me just saying, how the flock did I get here? Right? Married, kid, stressful job, shitty commute. Just really, living a life that, I don't know, I didn't really expect. Fell in love, got married before I knew it. It was the right thing to do, have a kid. I love my kid. I love my son to death. He's amazing. So no regrets. But, when you're 31, you just, you just don't want to have those responsibilities. And it's just like, oh, I just want to sit down and relax. I just want to do this. I just want to do that. The brutal truth was, I felt somewhat trapped by the responsibilities that I had created for myself through my decisions. And that how the F did I get here, I think was my tipping point. And so, brutally honest, I loved my wife, I loved my kid, I loved my life. It wasn't bad, but there was a brutal truth underneath that. The undercurrent was just that, how did I get here? I didn't sign up for this. And there was some unhappiness there. There was a lack of feeling of freedom that I wanted. Took me a long time to figure that out. So what's your truth? What's your brutal truth? You can comment below, or you can keep it to yourself. It is now a private group, at least in the group side. If you're on YouTube or if you are on the Facebook page, just know that those comments are public. But for yourself, piece of paper. What is my truth? If you're being brutally honest with each other, what is it? So let's get honest with ourselves, and you'll find that that goes a long way towards ending these symptoms and or pain that you've been experiencing. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.